This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. So my name is Marcy Kinter. I am the Vice President of Government and Regulatory Affairs for Printing United Alliance, and I'm also serve as the Secretary for the Sustainable Green Printing Partnership Program and the Chair of the Technical Committee. So I'm here as your moderator today, so I'm really glad that we're able to be here together. So before we begin, a few housekeeping items. First, please turn off your camera to help with bandwidth. That will keep us a little bit more on track and also will help your reception of the program. Everyone will be remuted. So as I said, everyone please turn off your camera if you're not speaking. Everyone will be muted during the presentations. And so if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat box. And my colleague, Jonathan Graham, who is behind the scenes, will be monitoring the chat box, as will I. And we'll go ahead and we will answer the questions at the end of the program. And this is meant to be a conversation, so we'll be monitoring it. So if we see something that is relevant to the section that Jenny's talking about or the issue that Jenny's addressing, we'll go ahead and ask her at that time. Jenny goes, yay, a conversation. And this program will be recorded and we will be making it publicly available. So who is SGP? Just so everybody, we're all on the same page. So SGP is essentially a certification organization. That is the sole purpose of the SGP program. We really look at how can we promote sustainability in the printing industry in North America and other countries. We're really looking to establish those best practices and innovation among all of the print community stakeholders so that we can align the print industry and customers in pursuit of that accountable, sustainable supply chain. And I will ask John, go ahead and take your camera off, please. Thank you. So the SGP model is, see who's not muted. All right, looks like everyone's muted except for us. So the SGP model is built on the 3 pillars. And I think it's important to note because we do have the model that is built on the people, the profit, and the planet. And when you start looking at the 3 pillars of sustainability, SGP encompasses all of them. And you're going to hear about that when we hear from Jenny, because we are looking at how is it, and that's really what we're talking about today, key partnerships. How is it that you integrate all of those elements together within one program, and how do you talk about it, and how do you really move that forward? So there are 3 elements to SGP certification. Next slide, Jenny. Oh, next slide. There we go. And Kent, can you please just take your camera off? Thank you. Hello. So there are 3 elements, basic elements to SGP certification. And it's important to note because we do need to understand what are we talking about when we look at certification. One is the requirement to institute a sustainability management system, very similar to ISO. But it does incorporate the requirements for safety and health, as well as it incorporates requirements for continuous improvement. We do have a series of best practices. If you're very familiar with SMS or management system, they would be called significant environmental aspects. These are those elements that have been pulled from the management system that the SGP program feels are critical and need to be elevated. And that's important because when we start looking at some of the items that Jenny's going to be talking about today and what she's working on, they're very knit closely into these best practices because it really looks and aligns with the communication strategies and how are you supposed to talk to people and what can you do to work together to elevate sustainability within your market space, but also elevate the sustainability conversation. And then finally, we have our impact tracker or certification tracker. And within the SGP program, this is where all the documentation resides, as well as the means for the auditors to go through and to really ensure that the printer has met all the certification requirements, as well as maintaining all its metrics across the board, such as recycling, waste, refrigerants, injury and illness statistics, energy, carbon footprint, etc. So it's really important that everybody understands all of this, and the fact that we do have benefits. We are seeing that the printers are just truly able to change. They are reducing their impacts and their operating costs across the board. So next slide, Jenny. There we go. So this gives it a little bit of a snapshot as to what the certified community has been able to do. And it's important because we're only able to do this by working together. We can't do this alone. So this is the entire, so when we look at the fact that, say, printers have reduced their emissions by 64%, they're not doing that in a vacuum. They're doing that in conversations with their suppliers, in conversations with their customers. And that's why it's really key to what Jenny's speaking to today about how through these partnerships, printers can move their journey forward, and not only their own journey, but help and contribute to what their customers are doing, as well as their suppliers. So it's really important and critical that everyone begins to see that, as we like to say, no man is an island. It's everybody is together, and that's how we're moving forward. So I am really excited to introduce today's presenter, good friend of mine, Jenny Dela Cruz, who is the co-founder of Snowball Print Marketing. And as you see here, she is an Energizer bunny. Oh my goodness. And if you were privy to our conversations before the program started, you will know that we are both tree huggers, and we do enjoy having those conversations and catching up and seeing what each other is doing. So I'm really glad to be here today, Jenny, with you for this conversation, and take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining from. As Marcy said, I'm Jenny Dela Cruz, COO and co-founder of Snowball Print Marketing. We are in our third year. It's been an amazing journey. It's been a really fun ride. The one thing we wanted to make sure is when we started our company, what is our mission, right? What's going to be at the core of what we do? And really what we're doing is innovating with integrity. So everything that we want to put together and put out there has a lot of thought to it, a lot of innovation, a lot of like meat and potatoes to it. It's not something that we wanted to start with and like strap on sustainability at the end. That was the core of why we started and wanted to make a difference. So we are a women-owned print marketing partner, and we are transforming the print marketplace. It's happening, and with our people, planet, and supply chain, we've been able to make changes, use the highest post-consumer waste materials for our paper, and we are also really encouraging our vendors to be SGP certified, and also working with Canopy with the Blue Line ranking. We're really serious about this, and this is really important to us. So, anything that we're working on, that we're trying to be accountable, ethical, and responsible, we take that really seriously. So what's our main focus? We love direct mail. So this picture you can see on here, it's on our website as well. There's a lot of direct mail, and I bet you if you looked in your mailbox before you even came to this meeting, you probably got a piece of our mail and you didn't even realize it was us. You won't know our indicia is kind of encrypted. It's kind of fun. We don't screen Snowball for a reason, but we do send a lot of direct mail. So in 2020, we did 26 million pieces of direct mail, and I think this year we're expected to at least double that. So we're doing really well. We're really proud of that. One thing that's important about us is our supplier agnostic model. It gives us unlimited choice and flexibility. So when we look at projects or programmatic work, we don't look at it and just say, oh, well, this is the cheapest price, so we're just going to go there. No, we look at all of our vendors, we price it out, we look at logistics of where is the paper going to get made, where does the paper have to ship to, what's the least carbon footprint, right? Which of these printers are SGP certified? Which is made a commitment to sustainability? Who are some print vendors that have, you know, recycled content on as their house sheet, right? Who are having conversations with me constantly and pushing the envelope, like literally, right? Because we want to make change, we want to do it well. So we can prioritize SGP vendors and environmental paper because we're providing most of it ourselves, the paper we're buying, but we've really had a lot of fun working with vendors over the years. So the challenge really is, look at this map, right? You can see this is the world, and we got one planet. There's a lot of people on it, and this map is through Canopy, through their forest mapper. This is all that's left of ancient forests in the world, and unfortunately, it's, you know, obviously getting cut down faster than we can possibly plant little seedlings and hope for the best and see if they grow and they survive. So we have to protect the trees that are left. So this is a big challenge, and this I take really personally. So there are some solutions that we work through and that we consider in every project that we work on. Obviously, the format, right? Paper, that's what we print on, right? That's print 101, everyone knows that. But there's different certifications and different ways to make things better choices, right? So I kind of, working from left to right, I see FSC. Everyone knows what that is, right? You're all familiar with it. You tear down, you know, you chop a tree, you plant a tree. It's properly managed. I see this as a baseline, right? Like your paper should definitely be FSC, not, you know, nothing less than that. Then you go to the next level of recycled pulp. So if you look at your paper, you can start, there's some, you know, there's some papers, the minimum I think is 10%, right? So you can start at 10, then people say, all right, let's go up to 30. Then there's some papers that have 50. We go all the way up to 100% because we can and we want to. So because of that, we have the Ancient Forest Friendly stamp, and Snowball Print Marketing is the only print marketing, print management company in the world that is certified to be Ancient Forest Friendly. And to do that, it took a lot of work and a lot of commitment on our end to make sure that we are setting the standards really high, that we really want our main source of paper to be 100% post-consumer waste. And if you really put that out there in the world, people aren't doing it because they think it's too expensive, or they're just not, well, it's not really necessary, or it's just, we can't do it. But you totally can. And if you're committed to something, you know, you can make it happen.
So Jenny, real quick, back to your certifications, and I always find this interesting.
Yeah.
And I see you have the Environmental Paper Network there. So are there certifications that look at specifically at recycled content? I mean, I'm very familiar with FSC certification or SFI, you know, we're trying to be agnostic here, but are there certifications that do look at recycled content that tell you, hey, you know, this is post-consumer or pre-consumer? Because I know there's differences, and I admit I'm not a paper person. So
no, I would say Canopy has an eco paper database. That's a really great place to start. You could go to their website and you can, you know, look it up on there, and you can put in different levels of like recycled content. You could put in like only ancient forest. You could put where it's made, where the mill is located. They have everything. They put a lot of time and energy into that. So that's a really great resource for that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. So our key partners, and as you know, when you have conversations with people you work with every day, you're going to work with who you like. That's what it comes down to. And you want to work with people that have the same values as you, that have the same mission, the same goals, because you're moving in the same, you know, direction, right? Which is forward. And we want to make changes and we want to make an impact, but we can't do it alone. We have to do it as a group, as a unit. And so the more that we can work together to do this, the more impact we can make. So SGP, obviously, they wanted me to talk to you guys. Me and Marcy go back a long ways. And we've been through a lot of different situations. And I really look up to Marcy as my mentor, and she really has helped, lead and guide me in certain situations when in previous positions at different companies, I'm like, this just isn't right. What can we do? How can we make this better? Because I'm so passionate about this, right? And it really bothers me. Like, why aren't we doing more? So Marcy has really helped me put together this, and we've worked together. And I love SGP and what they're doing. New Leaf Paper. I can't say enough great things about New Leaf Paper. They have really been by my side since, it's probably been at least 10 years now. And every time I'd say, well, I want this, they're like, we can do that. Well, I want it here, and I want it fast, and I want like 10 truckloads. Okay, we can do that. Okay, well, I want it to be, more sustainable, and I want it in this location. How can we work together to have like this closed loop thing? And I want it, sure, we could totally figure this out. So they have been by my side, and I'm so grateful for them. And they've done some great things, and I'll talk more about them soon. Environmental Paper Network, they're another amazing organization that cares about transparency. And it's not about saying, oh, I'm green, right? It's like, okay, we have a calculator that will actually tell you how green you are, and you can set a baseline, and you can look at your results, and you can set goals and understand where you're started and where you're going. And so they're really unbelievable group and organization. And then Monark Paper has been a newer partner for me, and I'm really pleased with the relationship that we're building and the conversations that we're having. It's been fantastic. They're a smaller mill. They're totally flexible. They're willing to work with me and make things happen. And they've been such an awesome partner already. And then Canopy. Canopy is another nonprofit that they're the biggest tree huggers I know, and they just want to protect ancient forests and help people understand what's left, how can we protect it, what are ways that we can improve what we're doing, and really pushing other bigger corporations to make changes, not only in paper, but in clothing and different fabrics and everything. So really exciting, like different types of materials, alternatives, wheat straw in different ways, hemp. There's lots of different ways you can put different things into paper to make it amazing other than just recycled content. So those are our key partners. One thing that's really important as a benefit to be partners with Snowball, if you are SGP certified and I don't know you, you should probably connect with me, right? You should reach out, tell me about what you're doing, how you can help Snowball. That's what we're looking for. So when we're looking for new vendors, I go to SGP's website first and see, is there anyone that we missed that we should be talking to that are certified that we just don't know? And we've had many conversations in 2020, especially with COVID, because we want to support people who are supporting the goals that we have and the same mission. And I know everyone is struggling, especially this year or last year, coming into this year. And if we don't support them, they might not survive, right? So you want to keep the people you like in business and give them work. So it's really important. So if you don't know me, reach out, say hello. One thing that's really great, and when you get with New Leaf, we have worked out a way to do a directed buy program, which is unbelievable. I don't think you guys realize how amazing this is, right? It's really hard to find people who will want to make pay-per-view that's super sustainable and do it in a timely way, with good relationships, good communication, good pricing. So if you don't know New Leaf, you should reach out to New Leaf. And at the end, I'm going to give you guys some resources, but they could help you. As printers, they can definitely help you. And you can look at different ways of putting more sustainable stock on your floor. Working with mills directly cuts down your cost. So Monark is a great resource for us that we deal direct with the mill. And we're able to cut costs doing that and build that relationship and understand the needs of each other. And then overall, you know, when you partner with Snowball or you partner with SGP or New Leaf, you're going to improve your sustainable metrics. It's going to happen, right? You're going to do better. You're going to make goals and you're going to reach them, right? And more companies are looking for this, either because they feel like they have to because they're being told to, or they really do care. So this is really important, and it gives you the advantage, right? The marketing advantage. To put that SGP on your website is a great thing because it shows that you've committed to that, and people do look at that. So that's a really awesome thing. The other thing is just an environmental house sheet. I can't stress this enough to the printers on the call. If you guys commit to an environmental house sheet, right, this makes it more accessible for everyone to use. It's that simple. And because you want it on your floor, you're going to get a better price because of volume. And not only that, people like me will want to use you more because I don't have to worry about paper. If it's their house sheet, I can deal with it. And we're like, oh, I need this quick run. Can you put it on this paper? Oh, I got that on the floor. No problem. So these are things that when you have a good partner that you get. Transparency. So if you're involved in sustainability at all, transparency is a word you're going to hear a lot about. And that's because we talk about it because it's so important. If we're not open with each other and understand and let each other know where our challenges are, how can we be better, what's happening, we can't move forward. So here's an example of the Environmental Paper Network paper calculator using their calculator and their data. And this is based on the Harmony offset that we use through New Leaf. This shows you the trees we've saved, the water we've saved, the energy we saved, the waste, the greenhouse gases. So when you look at this, it's savings and it makes you feel really good. So everything that you're doing does make a difference and does help.
So Jenny, as you know, through the impact tracker, this is something similar to what we have the printers do, where through the impact tracker, through the engagement display, they're able to show how much waste they've removed and equate it to, I don't know, dump trucks, something that is, as you've indicated, much more relatable to the average person. I mean, you can say 54% reduction and everyone goes, what does that mean? But if you say we reduced enough waste that we could, fill 10 dump trucks, people go, whoa. And it's, do you find that sort of information is also useful or helpful when you start having conversations with the printers and it gives you a better idea of who's actually, I guess, serious? Because, we always get the question, well, I'm certified, but then you look at somebody that says, well, I'm green or sustainable, but we're really looking to have the data to back it up.
No, I think data is everything. So I think from, a vendor perspective, from the printer side, if you're using the impact tracker to show people and report on that, that's a fantastic tool that printers should be using. And then it gives you insight to how really green are you, right? How committed are you? And then this can be used in tandem with that because this is your paper, right? This is the paper that you're buying that you have to print on. So they're kind of tied together. So if you're doing amazing things at your plant, at your facility, you're only going to amplify it by using paper that's more environmentally friendly as well. And so your results are going to be better because you're doing both. So I love the impact tracker and how that is. I should look at that more in close because I haven't really seen it in action. So maybe we can, afterwards go through it.
Be happy to. And in fact, I offer that to anyone on the phone here who would like to have a demo of the impact tracker. We'd love to walk you through it because it is a powerful tool because similar to what it does here for the paper, it does for the entire facility. So it looks at energy usage. It says, how much you've reduced your energy. It looks at your waste. It looks at your water usage, and it really turns it into relatable items. In addition, companies are tracking things like VOC emissions and HAP emissions and injury and illness data. So they have this data available. And what I find is that companies, and of course, as you know, through SGP, we look at that holistic approach and really trying to get companies to ask for that holistic data snap so that everybody understands that SGP isn't just focusing on, say, the substrate or the ink or the product, and doesn't look at the product going out the door, but the actual operations of the company, which would feed very nicely into what you've talked about here.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a really key point. And also it helps you set baselines. Because one thing that's great about SGP is that the continuous improvement part.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part about what you guys do, because it's like, okay, cool, I got the stamp, I'm done. No, you're just beginning.
No.
Because
Correct.
you want to get better and you want to keep improving. So that's why I love SGP so much. So new leaf paper, we're going to talk about this real quick. There's a lot of logos on the right-hand side. So we love our logos. We love our certifications, show it and be proud, right? So New Leaf is really great. They're a new patron, a gold patron of SGP, which is fantastic. I love that the paper mills are supporting SGP. They're B Corp certified, and everyone knows that's a difficult thing to get and keep up with. It's not easy. Being women owned, obviously, is always one thing. Snowball, we're almost there. We have one more thing to do, and then we'll be WeBank certified. So that's a process. You have to prove that you're a woman, and I guess having 2 children isn't quite enough. So that's a whole nother story. But of course, FSC, and then Ancient Forest Friendly. So New Leaf paper, similar to Snowball, and that's why we like each other so much, is from the onset. Our goal as a company was to do it the right way and to source 100% post-consumer waste paper and to make it and to have the resources. So they have an Ancient Forest Friendly product program. So they have different products that you can get based on what your goals are, so they can work with you on that. And then they've been fantastic with me with like a take and make program. If it's predictable, it's a program, and you run out, they're already ready for the next mill run, and we're setting up schedules. The closed loop system, they work really closely with Roland and Sustana, and they basically do the de-inking facilities. So the pulp is not even coming from that far away. They're actually really close to the mill, so it's kind of unbelievable. So at one point, I'd love to come out and see it in person, because just like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, I loved how things get done, and watching factory tours and seeing how things are made. I can't wait to come and see that, because I think it'll be really cool. And they can help you meet your sustainability goals. If you guys have goals that you want to do better or you want to try, they can help you and do all these things. And their sheets are awesome. I use them all the time, and they're our house sheet. So we love a 70-pound Harmony offset. That is my favorite, and it's fantastic, and it works really well and prints beautifully. So I highly recommend reaching out to New Leaf. So one thing is, when you make these small changes, right, sometimes it's really intimidating to move away from what you're used to, which is dealing with only merchants, right? But just so you know, when you do this, every printer counts, right? Every small change that we make, every order does make an impact, right? Even if you're thinking, oh my God, I can't order a truckload, they don't care. New Leaf doesn't care, Monark doesn't care. They just want you to start small and just get started, right? You just want to get started down that journey. So don't think of it as like an all or nothing thing. Think of it as a compliment that hopefully turns into something more. So Monark is another newer partnership for us, and that's super exciting because they also became a patron of SGP. So we've been pushing hard. Do you see how this works, everyone? Like, you want something, you have to push people to get it, right? You have to push things uphill. It's not gonna just happen magically. All these things don't just happen by magic. It's hard work and passion. So one thing I love, my favorite thing, they have a lot of amazing products. You could check out their website, but my favorite is their Astrolite PC100 Velvet. And the reason I love it is because it's 100% recycled sheet made in America, and it's the only coated made in America that you can use digitally and inline and offset, all of it. And they work really hard to make this happen. And the USPS will actually, use this, and it's approved. So one thing that happened, you see all the logos too. See, they have a lot of cool logos. So they have the FSC, the green E, the wind power, the carbon neutral, chlorine free. I mean, my goodness, right? I'm going to lose my breath saying them all, right? This is unbelievable. This is how much they care. And New Leaf and Monark are USA, right? We can support domestic. We don't have to buy an offshore sheet. We don't have to send the China crap in and like deal with all that. Let's support each other right here where we are. So one thing that's a great story about them, really quickly, is that I started using their paper, 100-pound cover for postcards, because we love postcards. I said, this is not in the right price range, and it's a little bit heavy. I need something in between your 80 and 100. I said, we love 9-point, and that's my favorite. And they said, well, we'll make you a 9-point. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, we'll make it for you. And they made it for me in like less than a month. They figured it out, ran the test sheets, we worked through some things, and now we're using it, on all of our digital jobs. Our push is to use this paper. So it's a really cool story, right? Because I didn't want to be, like, before this paper existed, it was really hard to find a digital sheet, a coded sheet specifically, that's 100%. So that's a really great story about them. Vendor spotlight. So Shaman, I just want to give it a quick shout out to them because I'm really super proud of them. I think they're an awesome group, an awesome company. Me and Stacy, we have some great crucial conversations. And when I first started working with her, this is the first year of Snowball, I said to her, Stacy, you need to be SGP certified. Like, why are you not doing that? She's like, I didn't even know. I didn't know it existed. And my goodness, they are a champion now, right, of SGP, Marcy?
Yep. And Kristen from their organization now serves on the board of directors for SGP.
That's fantastic. So my conversation 2 years ago pushed them to be certified, because it takes some time to get certified, but not impossible. From that time to now, right, 2 years later, now someone's on the board, and they're so passionate about it, and they're dedicating time and volunteering. That speaks volumes, right, and their commitment to sustainability. And Monadnock paper mill is very close to them. So they're very, like, location-wise, it's a no-brainer. So they help do test sheets for them and do print testing. Their house sheet is Monadnock, right? It's unbelievable. So this shows you, this is an example of a holistic approach, right? That you can continuously improve not only your print facility with SGP, but the paper that you're buying. So I just wanted to highlight them because they're really special.
And I think too, Jenny, what this shows is the whole closed loop, and almost to some extent, though we're stretching it a bit, a little bit of an example of the circular economy, or how everything fits in together. We're not looking at it that, what are they making and how is it being recycled into what product, but really the necessity to have everybody on board and everybody committed to the same pathway. And as you said, not only verbally committed, but have that transparency to actually say, yes, we're going to do something, and we're willing to work with you, and we're willing to work together and move forward.
Absolutely. And I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with printers that will just be like, no, we're not really ready. We're not really ready to talk about SGP. Maybe when you give us more work, then we'll consider it. I'm like, well, you need to be certified, and then maybe I'll give you more work, right? That's kind of how I see it. So it's, it's pushing the people, pushing our vendor list, and just kind of encouraging everyone to do better because we can, right? Wherever you spend your money is where you're making your impact. So here's some resources for you before we go to questions. If you take out your phone, there's a QR code, so it can take you to the contact information Newlies will email Shannon Bone. She's unbelievable. She'll be a really good resource for you. And Monark will take you to a SGP landing page that will tell you more about their company and their commitment to SGP. So then I'll give it to you, Marcy or Jonathan, for any questions that have come up.
Well, we've been kind of going through them as they come through because it just seemed to be appropriate to have that conversation. There's a lot of interest in the whole concept of transparency and traceability. And I think that's key because as we start to look at what is happening, and especially I think the COVID-19 pandemic showed us, we really do need to be more transparent in our actions. And we need to tell people what we're doing and show people what we're doing and really put those actions behind our words. And I think that with Snowball, that's really what I see, is that total commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't just happen, right? These are choices that you make. And these are, these are commitments that you want from the onset, right? With, my business partner, Katrina Shaw, she's unbelievable, right? We push each other really hard in different ways. And she's out selling and I'm out pushing her like, how can we do this more sustainable? What can we do about our supply chain? How about this? She's like, you focus on that. And I'll make sure we get the business coming in that we have the money to do what you want to do. So we're really a perfect partner for that.
Well, and I think that's what's interesting and people don't realize is that when you started your company, you did start it based on that premise of sustainability, and that was always key. But you also, similar to SGP, you have the 3 pillars. So you knew above and beyond, first, you needed to make some level of a profit in order for you to continue to employ the people such as you, but also in order to be able to utilize your platform as a means to continue the sustainability discussions. So I think what printers and others need to also look at is that it's not an overnight success in sustainability. So you would really characterize it as a journey and not necessarily as, hey, a one-stop shop.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a journey, and anyone, in sustainability, I think really understands that. And the more you learn about it, there's really no end, right? There's not like, oh, I've done great, I'm good now. It doesn't really, that's not how we think. That's not our mindset, and we're constantly setting new goals for ourselves. Every year you start with, what can I do better this year?
Right.
Who can I partner with this year that can help push me to be better? Right? Because maybe I don't have all the tools, but there are people who do. So I need to reach out to them and start my network and expand my network into more sustainability, type people, or just, connect with people and have conversations just to get started, because it's overwhelming when you don't know what you don't know, right? And I think it's better just to put yourself out there. And, I really support all the printers that are SGP certified, that have put their money where their mouth is, right? And said, I'm going to commit to this. I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate the patrons that are helping you in the back end with SGP, because without this, we can't, it's not sustainable, right? We can't keep going on our mission. And I think, it's all coming together, and I think we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. We can always get better.
Right. And I think it's just so key because it is those partnerships. It's the partnerships with you and the printers and the suppliers, but it's also the networking. And I would encourage anyone who's listening here today to take a look at the SGP website, but also to reach out to us. As Jonathan indicated, we are an all volunteer run organization. But we love to, I love to chat with people about sustainability. My goodness, we can talk about it till the cows come home. But it's because we're passionate about it. We feel very strongly that SGP provides that baseline, and we feel very strongly then that with the help of our patron suppliers and with the help of people such as Jenny, we can really make a difference. We can change the industry. You need a lifetime goal.
Yeah.
And I need to break in there for a moment, Marcy. First of all, we've got over 40 people that are on the call, so thank you very much. I just want to bring something else in, Jenny, because I see a couple of people on there. Dr. Nicola Uhas, who spoke in our December webinar from Sun Chemical, and we also have Ben Covert, also a new member of our board from Piedmont Plastics. We have a lot of people in our community who are on non-fiber based substrates. And I think one of the things for these people in terms of, looking at the partnerships, and I really like what I'm seeing with New Leaf and Monark, but let's say just some general hints, as you've done a very good job of bringing in these conversations. Now, what about bringing in some of the suppliers like a Sun Chemical or non-fiber based substrate? What kind of advice do you give for those kinds of conversations for other types of print jobs? And also, by the way, the impact tracker is covering all print processes. So I know, Karen, you had a question about going back to pulp and such. It's a little more complicated for us to deal with that, but we can talk to you offline about that. But really like to get some insights about some of the people who are using non-fiber based and also partnering with some of the other suppliers in our supply chain.
So really, Jenny, because it's interesting, and this, I think this question goes right to what Jonathan was talking about. We have a question that says, when working with partners who have not yet started or are in the process of starting either their SGP certification or their journey, how should we think about measuring the impact of that partner's sustainable efforts? So when you start looking at,
Yeah, it's hard. I think you have to report on something. You have to, you can't just say you're green, right? And you can't just, you have to have something out there that is tangible and that's trackable and that's measurable, right? And I think the best place to start is with a certification. And if it's not, SGP, it's the ISO 14001. Like if they already have that, SGP is super easy to get, right? You've gone through hard work. So, I don't really deal with the plastics as much, right? That's not really my, my specialty or what I focus on. But this, the general, right? The general gist of what we're saying is comparable. So in that industry, we'd have to figure out who are the key players, who's making that, who's making the, materials, where is it coming from, right? It'd be like a passion project. You'd have, someone has to kind of get that started in that industry that cares enough about it. Like, is there anyone, I don't know the answer to this, but is there anyone in that industry that is more sustainable as far as buying materials? Do you know?
No, it's a different world.
Right, it totally is, right?
But I think the same tenets of partnership apply, whereby you want to do your deep dive and your due diligence into those substrate characteristics, similar to what you do with paper. We're recommending you do that with other substrates as well, because that's really what I think it boils down to is due diligence, transparency, and metrics, because data seems to be king.
Yeah.
Right. So we have one question that I think this will be an interesting one for you, because it's not about partnerships at all. But what are you hearing the key reasons, understanding, based on what you're hearing, why people are paying more for sustainability? Why do you think we're starting to see, is it because the prices of the substrates are going down? Or, because that's always been a key sticking point, is that we find that customers are not really willing to pay more for those more sustainable or eco-friendly substrates.
Well, I think the key thing is marketing. It's marketing, and it's how you present the information and how it makes them look and how it makes them feel, right? And if they feel good about it, that's great, right? Some people, some of our clients don't even care about sustainability. They don't even ask for it. We don't even talk about it with some clients. I just give it to them. And I, okay, well, this is your paper. There's no choice of, oh, you want the virgin sheet or do you want the 100%, right? I'm always going to start with 100%. And if we can't get to that price point that you want, then we can have a conversation and say, well, gosh, this is really important to us and our values. What price do we need to get to for you to feel comfortable? And then we work through it. And usually we end up with the 100% on most instances. Sometimes on the bigger jobs, it's harder, right? Because they might have certain things already set, right, in motion from previous printers or previous experience that you kind of have to deal with. But I don't like to deal with it too long, right? Because I'm like, okay, I know we can make this better. So I'm always going to push, the client to do better. If we could stay in that same price, can we do more sustainable stock? And most of the time, they're not going to turn you down. They're not going to say, gosh, no, I really want you to use virgin sheet. That's really important to me, right? I don't think people say that, right? So I don't know. The answer to that question is a little bit convoluted, but basically, I think you just work with people that you hope that will make, good choices for you and help push you to be better than what you're doing.
Right.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Good.
And I think you can talk about it as much as you want. Like Shaman is a great example. They talk a lot about it. They scream on the rooftops about it. Right? Like we're green and we have a blog and we have a newsletter and we have all this stuff and we're right. They love talking about it. And some people just don't want to talk about it, but they just want to do it because it's part of their, mission, and just they don't want to scream about it, but they want to tick the box.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They want to tick that box. And I think working with Snowball, you're going to tick that box for sure. Working with SGP print partners, they're definitely caring about it more than others will, right? Working with New Leaf, Monark, they're gonna care. That's the core of who they are. So it's picking those key partners that are gonna help you be better without you doing anything different, right? They're just gonna give you those tools. We can too, right? We'll give you these tools to help you make better choices.
Oh, excellent. Well, Jenny, I thank you. What a great conversation. It has been so much fun. I really think that this was a great way to kick off our webinar program for 2021. I have to keep remembering what year it is.
Me too.
But I think that it's just important that we do realize that it is a partnership, a key partnership to move forward. And I can't think of any other way to kick it off than to have that discussion with you all at Snowball Print Marketing, because I'm just overjoyed with the success that you've had and the fact that you really do show and prove that you can have a company that is built on principles of sustainability and succeed and be extremely successful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marcy.
Thank you. And this concludes our program. And I'm so glad. And again, if you want to connect with Jenny, please go ahead and reach out to her. We'll be sending out the slides and it will have somewhere her contact information, but I do know she is on LinkedIn. So please reach out and connect with Jenny and Snowball Print Marketing. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a great day.